This is our special coverage of former President Trump's unprecedented hush money criminal trial. Right now, the jury has been hearing from perhaps the most significant witness so far. That is Hope Hicks, and it is their first insider account of the Trump 2016 campaign scramble to do damage control after the Access Hollywood tape was made public, and also after an initial story was published about affairs with Karen McDougal, alleged affairs with Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels. Moments ago, Hicks was asked if Trump ever communicated directly about the payment, and she testified, quote, "I only know about one instance. Sometime in the middle of February, Mr. Trump told me about it." A few minutes later, she said, quote, "Sorry, President Trump." The court is now taking a brief break after Hicks began crying, was audibly sniffing, according to our observers there and our reporters who were there in the room. We have CNN Chief Legal Affairs Correspondent Paula Reid outside the Manhattan courthouse. Paula, this was pretty dramatic. Tell us what happened.
Probably the most dramatic moment we've seen so far in this trial. Hope Hicks facing questions from prosecutors, specifically about whether she knew about that hush money payment, if Trump had ever talked to her about it. And she testified that she only knew of one instance, sometime in the middle of February 2017, that Trump told her about it. Now, she goes on to say that Trump told Hicks that Cohen did it, quote, out of the kindness of his heart. And she goes on to explain how she didn't really believe that because Cohen wasn't necessarily known as a, quote, selfless or charitable person. So yet another witness on the stand attacking the witness at the heart of this case, Michael Cohen. And then she becomes emotional. She apologizes. She then refers to him as President Trump. And that's when she begins to break down. Now, Brianna, throughout this testimony, she has clearly displayed signs that she is nervous. When she took the stand, she said that she was nervous, and especially as the questions became more and more pointed about the allegations at the heart of this case, she has been wringing her hands, sort of giggling and laughing through answers. So not a surprise that this block of questioning ended in tears. Now, she only has about 40 more minutes. It's unclear if prosecutors will have any more questions for her.
Okay, so unclear if they're going to have any more questions, Paula. Tell us about this break that they took and exactly what it's for.
So usually they take a break in the morning, and a break in the afternoon, and a break in the middle of the day for lunch. Again, according to our reports from inside the courtroom, it does look like they decided to take a break as soon as she started crying. It's unclear if the judge just wanted to give her a little space or if they're just taking their usual afternoon break and it happened to be well timed. Now, today is an early day. Usually court goes until 4:30, but they're getting out early today. And it was expected that prosecutors probably wouldn't want to allow defense attorneys to have a crack at Hope Hicks. They don't want anything from the defense, any of their questions, any of their narrative to be in the minds and the hearts of jurors as they go home. So at this point, it's unclear. There is some suggestion from our colleagues in the courtroom that that is the last line of question from prosecutors. But at this point, we're just looking to see if they have any more questions for her. But clearly, this is an incredibly stressful situation. She is estranged from former President Trump. She hasn't even looked at him, Brianna, throughout this entire proceeding. Remember, she used to be one of his closest advisors. She's not even looking at him. She's at the center now of the biggest case in the world. A very difficult situation for anyone. Sort of surprising, it's the first person we've seen cry on the stand.
Yeah, in the descriptions that we're getting, of course, from our colleagues, even as she walked in with her hands sort of balled into a fist, this is not a comfortable situation, to say the least, for her. And Paula, we just learned of a key moment when, just before the break, Hicks said of Trump's assessment of the hush money story that it was Mr. Trump's opinion is that it was better to be dealing with it now, and that it would have been bad to have that story come out before the election. What did you make of this moment?
So that's important because, remember, at the heart of this case, allegations that Trump falsified 34 business records to cover up that he paid back Michael Cohen for hush money and not just for the usual legal services. And the reason this is being charged as a felony is because prosecutors allege that this was all done, this entire conspiracy was done in an effort to help Trump win the White House. So this suggestion that it's better to deal with the story now because if it had come out before the election, could have hurt my chances of taking the White House. And that is significant as the prosecutors try to build this case and prove to the jury that everything they did in and around the Stormy Daniels hush money payment after the Access Hollywood tape and before the election, that all of that was done not to protect Trump's family, but to enhance his chances of becoming president.
Let's go back to Paula Reid. Paula, I know that you have some more details about this moment that we're trying to understand.
Yeah, so just a reminder, we don't have cameras in the courtroom, so we're relying on our colleagues who are inside giving us updates. And there was that really hectic moment where she started crying. But now I'm getting some more clarity from one of our colleagues inside about exactly what happened. And it is definitely the most significant moment in this trial so far. I'm told that when she was on the stand, she testified that Trump told her that Michael Cohen made the payment. He thought it was a generous thing to do, and that Trump said he was appreciative of the loyalty. And Trump thought it was better to deal with the story now, because it would have been bad if the story had come out before the election. And this person who's inside the court said she realized, Hope Hicks realized after she said all that, that she had just likely sunk him, right, made this case stronger for the prosecution, and that is when she broke down crying. Now, this source inside, one of our colleagues, says it's the closest thing to a Perry Mason moment there is in a white-collar case. So as it was happening live, I think it was a little hard to follow exactly what triggered her to break down, but this is the more coherent narration of exactly what transpired. Again, an incredibly powerful moment in this trial, and one of the rare moments where the prosecution may have been able to get their point across to the jury. Now, of course, she is on cross-examination by defense attorneys who are going to try to undo this in the about 30 minutes that they have.
Yeah, which may be tough considering her emotional state. And she appeared to, Paula, apologize to the former president?
So she appears at the time, in this particular instance, she appears to have explained what Trump told her about how Michael made the payment. He thought it would be generous. He was appreciative of the loyalty, and then tie it directly to the election. And that's when this person said, you could tell Hope just recognized what she had just done to her former boss. Now, at one point, she did apologize to the former president for not calling him President Trump. But here it appears that what prompted this emotional response, according to one of our colleagues inside, is that Hope realized that that piece of testimony that she had just given was really going to help make the prosecution's case.